Hello there, Seraphim17 once again, introducing you to my Uncharted 3 Crushing Difficulty video walkthrough. This is the second part of the 6th level, the Chateau, and this is the massive firefight I mentioned in the last video. And this is where the shit hits the fan, people, because this is tough. The first thing I like to do is I like to stealth kill that first guy, and I like to jump up here. If you sit up here in cover and you watch that avenue to my right, you cannot get flanked. The only way people can come for you is if they climb up and you can see them doing it and shoot them as they do it. The only problem with this spot is it's very difficult hearing them climb. There's no real signpost, and the sound design on this game is good, but it's not good enough to be able to full on hear what they're doing. So that guy's already come up. Getting into cover can be a bit picky on this wall, and I'm trying to wait for him now. The only problem is, he doesn't want to pop out of cover, so I have to go and beat him up. So, be super careful when you're moving around here. The enemy's accuracy is unbelievable. You're going to get hit from some ridiculous distances, and there's at least 10 dudes you've got to kill here, so be real careful. And shotgun guys will climb up, and if the shotgun guy hits you at close range, it's game over. It's that simple. But just use the weapons that they drop, keep on firing. You'll notice that there was a quick switch of weapons there from my edit. The reason for that is I died on this area, and what happens is if you die after killing a few guys, you're going to hit a checkpoint and it'll spawn you down at the bottom in a really bad situation. You do not want to die. It took me a good 30 seconds to run and climb back up here, and I was in full on black and white screen just to get back into this piece of cover. So it's just a case of not getting too overzealous. Do not stay out of cover for too long. You'll die far too quickly, and just be aware that you will get flanked, you will get hit from all directions, and it can be quite difficult to see the enemies where they are. One really cool part of this fight though is you're going to get an AK-47, and it's a pretty accurate and pretty useful assault rifle that you'll use for the rest of the level. Don't get too attached though, because ammo is a pain in the ass, especially considering how much people take. You don't really want to use the shotgun at this range, but it can work. It's just not all that effective. As you can see, as the world bleeds into monochrome, as I'm close to dying once again. But just be patient. Never ever go out of cover when your screen's in that death screen. You'll get shot too quickly, and the sensitivity for whatever reason on this game is very low, so you can't even get on target fast enough to kill them before they'll kill you. And this guy over here was testing my patience when I recorded this. He would not come out. I was teasing him with shots. I didn't want to go too far out of the cover though, because I knew there could be somebody knocking around. And the first time you don't check is the time you die. So I'm not pushing forward, he's not pushing forward, and we're at this war of attrition, this stupid stalemate right now. You might not have this, he might be super aggressive for you, which is always what I prefer. And as soon as you take him out, the two doors up there are going to open, and then you're going to have these guys to contend with. So use the cover trick to pop them before they even see you, and then make sure that the ground is completely clear before you drop out, and you can run around now and pick up the spoils of the mini war you just had. So that is probably the hardest fight of the level. There's another one coming up that can be challenging because you can get flanked, but that aside, the rest of this is pretty simple stuff. You can just go back to, you know, just enjoying your game. And that's another one of those touches. Did you see what he did there? When you ran past, he put his hand out to touch the wall. And it's these little things. It's so good, man. And I had the exact same reaction when I played Gears of War 3 when Marcus walked through the hold and he held on to the outside of the doorway as he walked through. It's just little animations that give it character. And what happened in Gears though, all the little touches where you could interact with things, you could put the hats on, you could press the buttons, it lasted for about 3 levels, and then you never saw it again, and it was just back to business as usual, shooting Locust, and, you know, going into cover, and chest-high walls, but it never loses it on Uncharted. It's always got those little things as you play it, and this game's amazing. And I played the second one, and I really wanted to be amazed by it, and don't get me wrong, it's got some fantastic set pieces, and some of the stuff I saw on that game was unbelievable. The only problem is I got my ass kicked so much on it because it was the first Uncharted I played that it left with a little stigma of a lack of enjoyment. And on this game I didn't have it because I'd played an Uncharted before, and I can't convey how much I enjoyed playing the game. And I hope you guys enjoy the guide because I had so much fun making it. But this is kind of funny, this is introducing you to the grenade mechanic, and if you throw one up there, it's going to seal those two dudes under some rubble. It happens the same every time, and it still makes me laugh. I'm not even sure why. But make sure you pick up as much ammo as you can, because this is another big firefight coming up. But this one is a lot easier once you know how to do it. So you're going to get a checkpoint when you squeeze through this little gap, and it's going to collapse behind you to stop you from being able to back up. So what you want to do is move up onto this balcony. You'll see Sonny down there. You'll see a bunch of grenades, and he's going to help you a little bit. He's not going to help you a lot, so don't rely on him. And all you have to do now is kill everything in sight. And the better you are at shooting, the quicker this is going to go. But you need to watch. If anybody runs below you, they're going to come up those stairs. Did you see that guy just then that I completely blanked on? Until he shot me, and I somehow get super lucky here and don't die. And all you have to do to stay alive in this position is to keep on checking those stairs. If you hear anything, if you see anybody run underneath, they're going to flank you, they're going to come up these stairs, and you just want to be waiting for them, and you can shoot them. Because the one thing I've noticed on this game, when an enemy's running, they cannot shoot. For whatever reason, they're in scripted mode to run. They'll do nothing until they reach the destination they want to get to. As soon as they get there, you're dead to rights. Before they do, they're dead to rights, and you need to exploit this fact. So just keep pepping dudes with your AK-47, keep on, you know, just conserve your ammo as best you can, because the more shots you place, the less ammo you have to run out to pick up, the less opportunity the enemy has to kill you. And Sully's now run up here with me, which helps, because this way you're going to be able to tell when enemies are flanking you, because he's going to shoot them. He's not going to do a successful job of killing them, he's just going to kind of be a silent alarm for you. And just pop dudes, use cover intelligently, and hopefully by now you'll be so used to the shooting mechanics in the game, and you'll be quite used to how the guns feel, that you'll be pretty effective at this kind of range. And I must say, it does take some getting used to, because it's definitely got its own feel, but this is one of those shootouts where it seems to last a little bit longer than it perhaps should. You start thinking maybe there's an unlimited spawn happening, but I don't think there is. I just think they've got the enemy numbers to quite high. So keep shooting. You'll know when you've done it, because somebody will talk, something will get thrown around, some kind of expression, and then you can push on to the next part of the chateau. And that's when it's going to set on fire, and that's when shit's going to start kicking off. And when the chateau does start to burn, there's a few moments where you're going to be attacked from all directions by enemies, and it can be really difficult. And the only reason it's difficult is the cover that you're using can be shot and destroyed, and it gets a little bit hairy at times, but I get lucky on my recording run, and I'm going to be able to tell you what to do and what not to do to avoid putting yourself in the situation that I found myself in. But I think we're done here. I think there's just that guy there. And that is the worst, when you go to shoot a dude and you're at the end of your clip and you've not got enough to kill him. The only thing worse than that is when he's shooting at you when it happens, because they do not have to shoot you very often to kill you, let me tell you. But once the fight's over, I think there's a little bit of a lilt there, a little bit of music, Gears-esque, telling you everybody died. And then you can run around picking up the ammo, getting everything back to the way it was, and you can continue onwards. And, I mean, there's a few moments of this game that are really frustrating, and they're all spaced kind of evenly, so it's nothing chronic. I'd say the hardest part of the game, my first time through, was probably the tanker area when you're on the boat, or when you're moving towards the boat. It's the pirate area of the game. If you've played it, you'll understand that. If you haven't, you'll soon see. And the reason for it is because there's a lot of big shootouts, and they're really challenging. They kicked my ass a lot, and I'm not even gonna lie. I got really disheartened on some of them, but on my recording run, I'm trying to think of some of the areas that were challenging. I think it was a little bit later when it got tough. There were a couple of fights that I thought were going to be really tough, and they weren't, because I'd struggled so much on hard that when I got here on crushing, I already had them down. And there was a couple of other ones where I didn't expect it to be challenging, and it was a little bit harder. For the most, though, it's pretty simple. It's one of those games where, as long as you know how to play it, and as long as you play it correctly, there's only a handful of areas that are going to give you some trouble. But if you're going to have trouble there, you're going to have a lot of it. But this is another puzzle. This is an interesting one. This is kind of like the Indiana Jonesy walking on the right stepping stone one. And all you have to do is, I fucked it up then, so do ignore me. You have to follow the pattern that's in your journal. And the journal tells you how many steps you're supposed to step on before you step on something else. And the first one is, well, just watch what I do. This is the perfect route for it. I forgot there, so I had to look to see how many X's I needed. But that's the pattern. 4 N's, 3 X's, 4 H's, 3 X's, and then 2 N's, I think. So from here, I mean, look at that. That's like when you look at your watch and then you go back to doing what you're doing and you still don't know the time. So you go left, then you go up, then you go up, then you go right, then you go right once more, then you go right once more, up, left, up. And that is the puzzle solved. And it's not a bad one, actually. They could have made them a lot worse, and I'm glad they haven't. Because there's nothing worse than when you get to a puzzle and you're like, what the fuck is this? Want to give us some light? And it's funny I should mention it, because we're coming to the puzzly area of the game. And that is one of the things that Insomniac's definitely changed, because on the second game, I do remember a handful of puzzles. This game, there's barely any. In fact, after this moment, when you go into the tombs on these first 2 levels, this one and the one that follows this, the only puzzles that are left after this are literally messing about with levers and things. And I'm not too sure if I prefer it, but at the time I spent more of my time doing the puzzles than I did shooting people, because I just couldn't figure them out as quickly as I would have hoped. But that's the joys of the second playthrough for the guide. You don't have to struggle through them, because I'll chop all that shit out for you. And there's a few areas of this game which they're not annoying because it is informative and it is, you know, expositional, but you'll be stood about waiting for the characters to finish their conversation before you can do the solution to the puzzle, even if you know what it is. Like right now, you've got to push the slab off of this once you've read those little notes, and there's no way you can rush it. There's no way you can, you know, press back and Marcus tells everybody to shut the fuck up and get on with what you're doing. You've just got to listen to it and listen through it. But before we figure out what the answer is, we have to decipher it using this lovely gizmo and our ring. So you just press select to do that. It doesn't take any skill, it's all completely automated, and then once you've finished conversing with Sully, you'll push the top of this block. And I'm at that stage now where there's certain parts of the game I want to talk about, but because I've played it the entire thing twice in 2 days in such rapid succession, it's all kind of moulding into one, and I'm kind of at a blank on the bits to mention, to watch out for. And here we are underground, moving towards the crypt anyhow. And there's a mechanic that they introduce in this game, which is a spider mechanic. There's a lot of spiders in this game, and they don't look like spiders. And coming from a guy that doesn't really like spiders very much, that's a pretty powerful thing to say. They look more like beetles. At first I thought they were scarabs. I thought they were something along those lines. But apparently they're spiders, and it's something that the game does quite a lot. So you'll have to get used to that. But fear not, they're never in any challenging rooms. There's never any situation that's too difficult to muster. It's all pretty standard stuff. And through this next room is another puzzle. And the riddle to this one involves your journal. And all you have to do is you have to place each of the different animals on a different plate. And to get the answer to what plate you've got to put them on, you have to stand. You've got to look from every direction of the floor tiles, and it shows you where they are. So the first clue is there. That's to place the horse and to place the phoenix. The lion and the cow are on the walls. So use your torch, and you should be able to figure it out if you don't know how to do it. But the correct order is what I'm going to show you in a minute. If you can see, it's the horse on the second row to the bottom on the left. The phoenix on the bottom row where you can see it. The cow goes there, I do believe, and then the lion, you've got to move it just to its left, I do believe. Let's have a look, see where it puts it. Just to its left, up. No, left. There you go, just to the left. So, all you'll have to do, guys, if you're struggling, is pause the video and put them where I put them just then. If you want to solve it on your own, like I said, you've got to look around the room, there are clues. It's kind of misleading at first, but then it's obvious. And I'm sure you've got the mental fortitude to figure it out. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. You take care now.